Welcome everyone to the Fireside Football Chat, episode 15.
God,
15, Jay.
It's so good.
15.
Keep on keeping on, bro.
Hey, week after week, it's the holiday season. We're creeping up. It's beautiful. A lot of games in college and pro. It's starting to get tight.
Ooh, you're not lying.
Great weekend last weekend.
Oh, fantastic.
Championship week. It was pretty entertaining, I should say.
I was entertained. Are you not entertained?
Well, I wasn't entertained on Friday when Tulane decided they weren't going to show up. But, you know,
the green wave.
I just didn't really.
I got a little bit of that
this week.
I got a little bit of that too, my friend. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I had SMU minus the 2.5 against Clemson, and God, Clemson got up to a big lead. SMU fought back. SMU fought back and made it a close game, but Clemson had a big lead for most of the game. Kudos to them, man. And they ended up winning outright in the end, so I took the L there. Boise State minus 3.5 versus UNLV. That was a dub.
It was.
21-7,
yeah.
Yeah, and it was a pretty comfortable, not to put your head on the pillow or anything, but like I just never felt UNLV threatening, you know. And then the Dolphins and Jets.
Yeah.
The hook will get you, brother.
The hook every time.
The Dolphins minus 6.5 at home against the Jets. They fought back to tie the game. They win in overtime, but they don't kick the extra point in overtime, my friend.
They don't care if you're covered or not.
They don't give a darn. They win by 6. They were 6.5 point favorites, so I took the L there as well. 1 and 2 last week. Don't love it, but close games nonetheless.
No, yeah.
Close ones. I understand close counts, and when it comes to this line of work, it counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and bocce ball. But
that's right.
It is what it is. You live and you learn. There were definitely some entertaining games on the college front. I just mentioned a couple there, and then we get to you had your Georgia game against Texas.
Oh yeah,
right. That was an overtime game, correct? Trying to think of, the one game was a blowout. The Arizona State, Iowa State ended up being a blowout. And then, let's see, I'm trying to think of the game. There were 1, 2, and then the third game on Saturday, the Penn State game. Great game. My beloved Nittany Lions couldn't quite get it done, but I was proud of how they played. I love the offensive game plan that Kotelnicki drew up. They actually used the pass to set up the run. Nick Singleton, I think he averaged 10.5 yards a carry. He had 10 rushes, 105 yards. And Katron Allen, I think he was at 8.9 yards a carry, some punishing runs. So great game. At the end of the day, whether you like James Franklin or not, and I understand that, that there may be some of those out there that don't, but I will say this. Week after week after week, he preaches turnovers and explosive plays. They won the explosive play battle, but they lost the turnover battle, and it cost them dearly, right? I mean, Howard throws that one pick. They run it back to the 1 yard line, and then run it in, and then to end the game, So as much as the defense kind of got beat up, certainly people beating them up, how could you possibly give up 45 points? Well, let's dial it back a hair because, again, that interception, I think it was in the second quarter, throws the interception and they run it back to the 1 yard line. So, if you want to call that, if the defense gives up a 1 yard run.
Right, exactly.
I don't necessarily agree with that. But they did what they had to do at the end of towards the end of the game. Oregon had the ball with a chance to run the clock out, just like Ohio State managed to do. However, the defense got the stop, got Penn State the ball back with 2 and change left. Some questionable calls and no calls in that game. But at the end of the day, that second interception did them in.
Yeah.
But
they showed up. They showed up and played.
Proud of the way they played.
Exactly.
Really, it's honest to God, really encouraging moving forward. So fun weekend on the college slate. Anything you saw on the pro slate, in addition to what I mentioned?
Well,
with my Dolphins-Jets game.
No, the Bills game, that was incredible, right?
What did Josh Allen have? 55 points or something in fantasy? I mean, something crazy.
52.
52, depending on the league.
Yeah, well, in our league, 52. It was just, it's entertaining to watch. It really is. That was a good game. Even Monday night, obviously, I'm watching the Cowboys and the Bengals, wondering what's going to happen because Joe Burrow, like I mentioned last week, leading the league in touchdowns, leading the league in yards. Jamar Chase is leading every wide receiver. They just have a juggernaut of an offense. I mean, and I love watching it. I tried to, I think, twice pick up in fantasy the Burrow-Chase combination because when they hit it, you get double. But so watching that, it's the same thing. Just don't embarrass me on Monday Night Football. Dallas got some people back on defense. They were playing well, and they actually, kept them down until the last play of the game, so to speak. But they were keeping Burrow in check, and you see a block, but you see they're going to get the ball back, and all they have to do is get in within 77 yards for a field goal.
How about it?
And then I'm sitting there like one eye. How they blocked it? And all of a sudden, the kid, I forget his name. He never played shortstop. Because he didn't charge the ball, he let it play him, and then that was it. You can't let a ball that's not round play you like that.
You cannot.
So anyway, I mean, we're getting to that time of the year.
Entertaining game.
No, exactly.
Right?
That's all you want.
Gladiator.
No, I was
not entertained.
I just don't want to be embarraed.
That's correct.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
I'll get into some other pro things when we get to some games.
Sure.
So
do you want me to take it away, or do you have fun facts for us, or
some
you want to
fun
wait?
Facts before we get into that, though, Jay. There's a big game this week.
Oh,
a huge game.
You think?
Huge game, and I'm not sure the spread when it came out, but Shinebox Nation versus Chester Cheetah this week. First round of the playoffs.
You know what he's talking about.
He's Chester Cheetah. I'm Shinebox Nation. Shinebox Nation, and. First week of the playoffs.
We got a battle, my friends.
And I'm the commissioner of the league. Not that we're going to talk fantasy, but I had to put the matchups in this week. And I just said, oh, how fitting is this that we're going to do a podcast and we have a game. And now listen, talking about lines and things like that, I could have swore I saw, and you could probably look it up real quick, like Shinebox Nation's giving 4.5 to Chester Cheetah.
How did they come up with that?
How do you come up with this?
Yeah, nothing like the fantasy football lines. I see it all the time. Sometimes it's like minus 16.5, and I'm like, how do you come up with it?
But then you put your lineup in and it shrinks.
Yeah.
It does.
That's
so
right.
This is first week of the playoffs, but I figured I would throw a little something at you. Start with that. Yep. Before the fun facts came out.
We could put a Chester Cheetah on that one.
While we do this.
Let's see what the 8 ball says.
Okay. So, how do we want to pick it?
Let's see. Let's say, since you're holding the 8 ball, let's go with the Shinebox Nation with the victory.
Give him 4.5.
Yep.
If that's what it is. Let's see what it says, because last week, if you remember, it went against me, and they were right because I took it on the chin. Will Shinebox Nation take out Chester Cheetah? And it says, outlook not so good.
Geez. Well, we've seen both sides of that one.
Yeah,
we'll
that's
see what happens.
Right. Hey, but
it's going to be a fun match.
No, absolutely. This is fun too when we bring to this end of the season.
Yeah.
But it's funny.
Playoffs, baby.
That's right. And when I brought up that big game, I thought you were going to talk about the obvious Army-Navy game, because it's the only one on the docket.
Something for the effort there.
I don't know if these are fun facts. I don't know if they are, but I'm going to give a couple, little things out there. The first Army-Navy game was played on November 29th, 1890.
Goodness.
It's a long time.
God.
Long time.
What was I, 30? 31?
I mean, it's funny how they put it in Philly because it was in between, but now they're playing in Maryland sometimes, and sometimes they move it up to Giant Stadium, whatever.
Yep.
But, it was nice to have in our backyard for a while, and they still come back, too.
Played there more than any other spot.
That's right. And going into the 1944 and 1945 games, Army and Navy were ranked 1 and 2.
Goodness.
Army won both of them. But I thought that was pretty interesting. That those 2 years they were there. And if you're going to watch the game, try to watch it a little bit early. Because evidently, the flyover is huge to the top brass on both sides. They want to outdo each other.
Yeah,
they bring everybody in, not drones flying over New Jersey right now. They don't bring the drones in, Jay.
No.
They bring in everything.
No, the whole arsenal's brought in, right? The Blackhawks, the Chinooks, the whole nine comes in, man. It's really impressive.
I'll keep it clean and basically just say, they stick their chest out that day. They want to outdo the other brass, and I get it, and I get that. And, usually I come in and I'll throw a pick out, but there's only one game. That's your thing. So I have my thoughts on it, but I'm going to let you.
Want me to start her off?
No, just say who do you got. If I agree with you, great. If I don't, it's just part of the line cracked me up. But, I'm going to hear your thoughts and hear what you have. I know you're going to bring it with that, being you have one featured game in college. Take it away, Jay.
I've got one featured game in college, and it is the Army-Navy game. Okay? Army giving 6.5.
That's right.
Right? To the good old Navy midshipmen. This is the 125th edition of the famous Army-Navy game. It's going to be played, as you said, Northwest Stadium in Landover, Maryland. By the way, the 19th ranked Army Black Knights, by the way, fresh off that American Athletic Conference Championship.
Yes.
Feeling pretty good about themselves.
All
right. Men would say that when it comes to this tremendous rivalry in our United States of America against these two military powerhouses, you can throw out any point spreads, my friend. Okay, now there is one, and I'm going to pick. However, most of the time when it comes to this game, point spreads.
I agree. Now I look at the past games to see what it would look like.
Yeah, trends.
Absolutely.
Sure. Folks, this is the biggest rivalry in all of sports.
Oh, without a doubt.
Okay, this is the biggest. And I'm looking at you, Duke, Carolina, Ohio State, Michigan, which are big ones.
Yeah, right.
No denying it. Okay. But none is bigger than this one. Let's be honest. It's the biggest. What's extra special about this one? Well, this year, Chip, it's for the vaunted Commander-in-Chief trophy. Okay? Now, not every year is it for the vaunted Commander-in-Chief trophy. As a matter of fact, I believe Air Force has more Commander-in-Chief trophies than any of the other armed forces. But this game this year played between Army-Navy, it's for all the marbles. It's for the Commander-in-Chief trophy, and that's a big, big, big deal. Since the inception of the Commander-in-Chief trophy back in 1972, this is only the 8th time that Army-Navy has played for it. Pretty big deal. Coach Jeff Monken's Army Black Knights, Army Black Knights are 11-1, okay, after routing the Tulane Green Wave. As I said, for the American Athletic Conference Championship, the Black Knights quarterback, Bryson Daly, stud, okay? He's the engine that pulls that train, this kid. He rushed for almost 1,500 yards in 12 games to go along with 29 rushing touchdowns, then tossed in 8 passing touchdowns, and he's got 37 total touchdowns on the season. The guy's a player.
That's
it's
crazy.
Not a fluke.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The team is balanced. The Black Knights, the Army Black Knights, they are balanced. They're ready to pounce. Okay, folks, normally these games are very tight. I've watched both of these teams multiple times, and again, I'm the first one to say, throw out the point spread. But after watching both of these teams, I just think that the Black Knights are going to be a little too much this year. They've got legit. This is not like, well, they're smaller and athletic. They've got some legit athletic football players on both sides of the ball. And that's not to say that Navy doesn't.
No,
but
absolutely.
Traditionally, the knock is, well, they're smaller. Yeah, that's fine when you play those group of 5 teams. But when you step up,
that's right.
Listen, they've got some players, some athletic, bigger guys. So give me the Army Black Knights -6.5 over the Navy midshipmen. I see this being a double-digit victory for Army with the Navy midshipmen the first up to sing, by the way, the losing team.
That's right.
Right, everybody. And I love the pageantry where they go.
No, without a doubt.
They all go to one side. So if it turns out that Navy does lose, Army and Navy, they go to the Navy side, right? They all
essentially
sing.
They're on the same team.
That's correct. So they all sing. And unfortunately, you know, they'll be drowning their tears in their alma mater at that point, okay? All while the Black Knights sing with their Navy brethren, as you said, together. Afterwards, they march on over to the Black Knight faithful singing the Army alma mater, and then hoist that Commander-in-Chief trophy proudly as they revel in both the win and the cover.
Wow.
Yep, I'm going with Army minus 6.5.
Interesting.
And in the end, Chip, like, I understand, you know, pick, maybe people are putting money on it or not, but the game is just so good. And at the end of the day, these are the guys fighting for our country.
That's right.
Big deal. So I can say this because I'm not a part of the game, and I know they feel differently on that day. No losers.
No, without a doubt. No,
losers.
without a doubt.
No
without a doubt.
So that was my one college game. I'm going to jump on over to the NFL.
I agree with that, by the way. I looked at it, and I didn't. Like I said, I was going to let you pick it. I agree with the Army. Yeah. But one thing I did look at when you looked at the line is the line made me think that it was an Army line. But 6.5, right? 39 over and under.
I know.
And I'm looking at that saying,
points.
So it's not a lot of points. So when, you know, I don't know about you, when I look at points, I look at, okay, let's get this score down. So 20-13.
Yeah,
so you start with that.
Yeah,
and then you start doing
points.
that 24-17. So you're looking up, and it's just going to be a running game. You would think it would be close to the under because of the tick of the clock.
Right.
And constant. But yeah, I agree. Army, it's going to be good. It's going to be, it's the game, obviously, of the week, the only game, but it's going to be good. So
yeah, I think it's going to be a good battle. The pro game. You mentioned this team earlier. First of all, I want to say that I made the grand mistake in one of my fantasy football DFS leagues, right? So a DraftKings promo there for them. Don't be afraid to send a little merch.
Yeah, right. I'm going to say that name.
Anyhow, I ended up picking in one of my leagues, not one, but two Tennessee Titans. What a mistake that was. Okay, Tennessee Titans currently, and as you know, Chip, I move them in, I move them out. They're in the stink pot. All right.
I'm just trying to figure out who the second player you would pick because obviously Pollard would be a legitimate shot if you want to run him back.
He would. I took the quarterback Will Levis. Okay. And then I went with the guy that had.
Oh, you didn't even have Pollard.
No, I had the receiver that had lit it up the previous 4 weeks.
No, I got
and last week he got like 2
But that's
points.
what you do, though. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
But after that featured game, Tennessee played last week, losing to the lowly Jaguars, I believe it was.
Yep.
10-6.
And that was without Trevor Lawrence, too, right?
10-6.
Yeah, I got you. Must have been the under, huh?
I can't see where the Titans are going to get points from in this game, even though the Bengals defense is not great. I don't know, man. The only thing that they got going for them maybe is they're at home. Quarterback Will Levis, by the way, for Tennessee, he needs to go back to making mayonnaise commercials. Not real good. Not a real good quarterback at all. The guy can't hit the broadside of a barn with a pass. He may just have the happiest feet in all of the NFL. I mean, the guy is like, as soon as he sniffs a little pressure, he's running around, jumping around. I know it's a very difficult position to play.
And he's a rookie.
But he just...
I'm with you.
Man, he hasn't shown it to me. The other piece is let's see here. Joe Burrow, that gunslinger you mentioned earlier, like, he's caught fire recently. He really has. It hasn't been the offense that's the problem. As we said, it's the defense. But I expect the Burrow, as you had mentioned this combination, the Burrows to Jamar Chase. I don't see that train slowing down, okay? I see that tandem be flowing like fire.
Oh, without a doubt.
The Bengals are fresh off Monday night win against the Cowboys, as you mentioned, 27-20. I think this game is going to be laughable. I do.
What's the line?
It's 4.5. Bengals are minus 4.5 at the Titans. The Bengals seem to be playing angry. I don't know whether they have anything to play for, but they do seem to be playing angry. And Burrows is, I think his thing is hey, man, I'm going to keep firing on offense. You all want to play D or not? I don't care. Okay, me and our offensive squad, we're going to take it to them. So if you're a fan of DFS, feel free to put Burrows and Chase. Okay, put them on your lineup, sit back and watch them gobble up muchos puntos. Okay, translate in English, Chip, many points.
There you go.
Give me the Bengals minus 4.5. It'll be an easy win as they clobber the hapless Tennessee Titans right on their home turf. Okay, now let's turn our attention to our pro pigskin aficionado, Chip himself.
I'm not about aficionado. I like that pick, though, Cincinnati. I just hope Joe's not distracted by amping up a security at home. You know what I mean?
Potentially.
No, you know what I'm saying?
I hear you, man. We'll see. Man, it was very, very disappointing what I saw out of Tennessee. And against the Jaguars, who, as you mentioned, no Trevor Lawrence, 30th or 32nd ranked pass defense. You had all your receivers healthy. You could do squad do against them. I get it. It's the NFL any given week. But, Chip, we're now at a point where the numbers are the numbers.
I got you.
Okay? And I'm not saying you can't improve, but 30th, 32nd rank, you're probably pretty bad and prone to getting thrown on.
Absolutely.
But it didn't happen.
Absolutely.
So we'll turn it over to you, Chip.
Ha ha. You know what's funny, Jay? You were talking about the NFL and the parody and this and that. Mm-hmm. It's a bunch of parody. Because you know what's funny? I looked at the power rankings, and I'm gonna.
What's that? An ESPN?
No, this will be. I don't think it's ESPN. No. I don't know who
There's
does it.
There's a few of them.
There's a few of them, but it's the one I look at.
Puts one out.
It could have been. It could be with Warren Sharp, that guy I was telling you about. Just because I look at different things, but I just perused it. The Giants are in last, which made me smile. But this is the state of where we are, where Washington is the 10th this year. Knowing what we saw, they came out of nowhere in the beginning, did some good things, came down to earth a little bit.
Yep.
But they're the 10th ranked team, power team in the NFL. That's how bad it is.
I saw the line.
That's what I'm saying. That's how bad it is. It's just I don't know what to do. Which makes me ask you, what is the difference between Carolina and Cleveland? You don't have to give me specifics, but not too much, right?
There sounds like there's not a whole lot. I mean, Jerry Jeudy had a crazy game the one week, but like outside of it, it looks to me like you've got Bryce Young is playing a little bit better ball.
Yeah.
The Panthers are playing a little bit better football. I do think the Eagles overlooked them, but their fault. They are playing a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of difference between the two squads.
But 2 weeks ago, Kansas City goes into Carolina, and I believe it was because I had them. I think it was 11.5, right?
I see where
and I'm looking to see where this is going to be a blowout the week they blow somebody out, which they don't. If you look, most of their games are field goal games, and they just pull a rabbit out of a hat. So I'm looking at the Cleveland game. They're playing Kansas. Kansas City's going into Cleveland.
Yep.
And they're giving Cleveland 4 points.
4.
And I look at that, and I'm like, is Vegas wising up or what? Or I just was like,
Seems awfully close, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I don't know if this is going to be the week or not, but I'm going with Cleveland.
You going with the Steamers,
Plus 4 points at home in the dog pound against the visiting Kansas City Chiefs.
It's going to be chilly. I know both teams know about the cold.
That's right. But I just look at that because
I saw the line too.
Yeah.
And it kind of piqued my interest. And I didn't have the courage to use it because the the Bengals, I had a little bit more conviction there, but like, I get your point, man. They just kind of keep scraping by.
It was either that or go with Bo Nix, but, you know, I went with the Cleveland because, you know why? Because one thing I always do, and...
Is that crab legs?
Yeah.
He'll keep you in the game one way or another. One way or another, he'll keep you in the game offensively.
No, that's what I mean. So hopefully he won't be pick six in it. But one thing I do, and the former MN. The former, I don't want to put it out because I don't even want to mention it. But anyway, we look at things. We always say, stay with the first thing you saw. And when I look at the games, I see what jumps out. I mean, that was the first one that jumped out. So you know what? I didn't want to go against it. I didn't want to put a fourth game on here. So I just picked the Cleveland.
All right.
Cleveland getting 4 points against the overrated, I can't say overrated, the magical abracadabra Kansas City Chiefs.
Abracadabra.
That's right. Go ahead, Steve Miller.
What is Mr. Doctor? I'm sorry, Dr. 8. Tell us.
It says concentrate and ask again. I don't know how you concentrate on it. Yeah, come on. It says, my reply is no.
All right.
Okay.
A little feisty this evening, this Magic 8 Ball.
Yeah. So, I'm looking at another entertaining must-watch game, and it's probably, you would think, the game of the week.
Oh, wow.
The Bills and the Lions.
Hey, you are going there. I
saw the Bills and the Lions.
What was that line most recently at? What'd you have it at?
I think it was at like 2.5, 3.
Oh, okay.
Something like that. I mean, like even Steven. I'm not going there.
No.
You can't look at that. And I looked over to the points, the over-under.
Oh, is that where you're eyeing it?
Uh-huh. Because I figured it's going to be an entertaining game, you would think. 54.5. Ooh. They both scored 30 points.
You're going, aren't you?
I'm praying for points and rooting for points. Let's keep rooting, Jay.
You're going,
think about it. I mean, why not?
Going over the mountain, aren't you?
No, I just think, I mean, they both score a lot of points. Now, if you look at the average, I think Detroit is right there at 30 points a game. But they had some big, they had 252s, I think, and 140 something. So it's not like they're steady. I mean, they were against tomato cans at the time.
They're on their home turf.
Yeah,
right?
But they're on their own turf. Their defense, I just think their defense isn't. They had some injuries. I think they're not where they were. They're still good though, but I think they're going to put up some points. I think they both are. So I'm going with the Bills Lions over 54.5. Let's root for some points.
Hey, that's a fun game
It's
to root for.
Exactly.
Right?
That's
root
why
for some offense. I'm not opposed to that.
That's why I did it.
I like a good defensive battle too. Don't get me wrong, but
we'll stick to Army Navy under 39.
When those two get together,
absolutely.
At least this year.
And I'm hoping. Listen, you know. My next game is going to reflect it, but you know, like I said, it's between. I think it's between Detroit and the Eagles, and then the Bills, and I don't even know who the second one will be. So far, I mean, we still got a few weeks left, but they make it very, very entertaining, and I like it because, like we said, a lot of parity, and you got to let the cream rise to the top because, some of these other games.
There's other people that are interested. That's not a billion-dollar operation for nothing. There aren't a lot of B's out there.
No,
okay?
no.
That's a B.
Especially when Jeffrey just sold 8% stake, minority shares or whatever.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Valued at $8.3 billion for the Eagles.
Wow.
I just got to prove that thing.
Sweet Jesus.
So we're going to go with the Bills, the Lions in the Dome. No weather here.
No, nothing to worry
Over
about.
54.5. Let's root for some points.
Can we have a repeat performance?
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt, those quarterbacks are going to be slinging it silly, my friend.
That's right. That's going to be fun. That's going to be fun.
Josh Allen, Jared Goff, just slinging it around, brother.
You know, Jared Goff kind of like amazes me because I probably wouldn't have paid attention too much, but obviously he got drafted in 16 with Wentz, and it was between those two.
Yeah.
and the Rams decided to go with Goff.
Yeah,
and Wentz is he's with KC, but he's not even
Wentz wagon.
He should be sitting there flipping burgers
That's
somewhere.
That's the Wentz wagon.
But Goff, the fact that they I don't want to say they gave up on him. I thought he would have did well if they didn't flip-flop those quarterbacks. But Goff is just steady Eddie. Just steady Eddie.
I think having those 2 stud running backs
helps.
Would help any team, right?
Sure.
I mean, they can run the football.
Sure.
And they just rip that play action, and Amon-Ra's a top 5 receiver, right? Maybe top 3. And you know, the other guy, what is it? Is his last name Williams? They've got another receiver that's also pretty talented. But, you know, again, Amon-Ra. And then
he's on somebody's fantasy roster, isn't he?
And their tight end, Laporta. Nice tight end. I mean, they've got it. He's got some weapons.
No, absolutely.
The running backs can catch the ball out of the backfield.
And they
they rotate him in and out.
Absolutely.
Man, Josh Allen's Josh Allen.
That's right. So, we're going to go with my final game.
What do you got?
Well, you mentioned it just a little while ago how the Eagles overlooked Carolina. Now, I got to be honest. I've been playing that over and over in my head all week long, saying the way they were running through teams, balanced, doing things, I thought that Sirianni would have had them up playing. I just figured I wasn't asking for that 42-9 blowout. I was looking for more of even 27-13.
Okay.
You know what I mean? 23-10, where you're not blowing them out, but you're covering the spread.
It felt to me like, hey, you got to get that pass game dialed in here. I understand what they're doing, right? I understand the role that they're on, and they're winning football games, and that's what you got to do. You got to win. However, when it's time for the playoffs, and I do believe it'll be time for the playoffs, you better have that pass game somewhat dialed in.
But if you look, okay, not yards, but did you see Hurt stats? His QBR was like 110.
Well.
He only threw for a little over 100 yards, but it was like one of those 15 for 21 games, which means you're not stretching the field. But you
got a guy that can stretch the field. I mean, AJ.
I'm with you,
on, man.
But I'm still thinking that they still should have covered the spread. It was only 2 touchdowns. It was 12.5, so you scored 2 touchdowns.
I agree with you.
And not blow them out. That's what I don't understand.
I agree with you. I'm a little hesitant, to just go, well,
to hand the Eagles, it to them.
Yeah, to be like, here you go. Your defense is playing incredible. Let's just road to the Super Bowl. Because you know as well as I do.
You saw a dumpster fire last year.
There will be a defense that says, we are just stacking this line, man up on the edge, right? Play that, the single high safety and roll the dice and be like, we will not let Barkley beat us. Now, I don't know that the defense could be good enough to do that, but somewhere along the line, you are going to play a defense that's going to be able to, I didn't say stop it, but slow it down.
I agree.
You are going to have to start.
I'd make Hurts beat me.
Well,
I'd make Hurts beat me, really. And
I say that because I agree with you in the sense that they should have covered that game. Now, whether you want to call it overlook, which is what I said, or
they're at home, though.
Maybe he's just not dialed in from a passing. I know that they had Devontae Smith was his first game back, right? Listen, the tight end scored, didn't he? He got a touchdown. He's not a bad player. I understand Dallas Goedert was out,
but still, the other guy, I forget his name. It's still they still at home on a roll. I
saw that game where they were. My thought was they were going to get up 14-0, feed Barkley, feed him. Carolina gets a field goal. Barkley scores a touchdown. Right now we're up 21-3, and it's step on the neck and apply pressure type of thing.
Yeah,
right?
I just don't know.
Barkley, and never certainly didn't get to that. I mean, they gave him the football, but it didn't get to that.
No, I'm with you. So I looked at the game this week, Eagles in Pittsburgh. They got the visiting Steelers. I feel bad for the Steelers. I feel bad for them this week.
We're going to go downtown and watch the Steelers.
That's right. That's right. I think
some fries at the O.
I think that there's a little distraction going on in the locker room now. They're quelling it. But what I'm saying is, so I think that they have to really come out and show them that was just they were looking ahead, which I still don't believe that they were. I mean, psychologically in the back of their mind, subconsciously, yeah, maybe. But, okay, here's that game that you thought it was going to be a good one. And the Steelers, again, doing well this year. I just don't think that they're at the same caliber. So I just think, and it kind of cemented, because I saw the line at 5. And then just saw it on my last minute 5.5. So that means it's going up a little bit more. So I just think that at home against a good team, we're not overlooking them with the Eagles. And I just think that they're going to cover that 5.5. Right. I really do. I think they're going to get in sync, because the only thing that scares me about it, because after I picked it, the only thing that scares me, and you've seen this before, is the force feeding of A.J. Brown. You know, when you start getting the ball, you're just forcing it,
turnover,
gulp. You can't do that with Pittsburgh. You can't do that.
You can't.
I just think that
players on that defense.
Exactly, and I just think that they're gonna. But I think they're gonna get past it. I think they need to keep that train going to get into going into the playoffs. So.
All right.
I'm gonna take the Eagles minus 5.5. Mr. 8-Ball.
Not even the fish could save Pittsburgh. Huh?
That's right. That's right. Oh, my reply is no. Okay. For all you Steelers fans,
hi-oh!
It's on your side this week.
You've been a stingy Dr. 8-Ball this evening.
That's right. That's right. No sandwiches with French fries this weekend. Let me tell you.
Help yourself.
So yeah, right. So. I wonder what's going to happen this week, because there's 2 Monday night games. It gives Mr. Monday Night an opportunity to either pick 2 or hone in on 1. So
it's his choice.
Here comes Mr. Monday Night.
What do you think?
Welcome back, sports fans, to the new Mr. Monday Night, presented to you exclusively by the Fireside Football Chat. This week we have a double header. I tell you what, these games are so bad that the only way to honor them is to bring out an alternative Monday Night Football theme. Who remembers the 1989 to 2005 ABC Monday Night Football theme? Well, I think it's appropriate for these 2 dog games. First, we have the Chicago Bears at the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings are minus 6. The Bears, they had a little run there where they kept games close. They had the fiasco in Detroit. They fired their coach, which usually inspires a team to do better. And then they were absolutely awful last week. Well, I think they had 5 yards of offense at halftime. Just brutal. I think they're done. Vikings still need the game to keep pace with the Lions. Home game. Take the Vikings, minus 6. Second game, we have the Atlanta Falcons at the Las Vegas Raiders. Falcons are minus 4. I'm going to tell you something. The Raiders are the best 2-11 team in the league. Take it to the bank. They keep games close. They were really robbed in that Chiefs game. But they compete, and they keep it close, and it's home, and it's more than a field goal. I'm going to take the Raiders, plus 4. Why not? So these are my 2 picks for the 2 dog games on this Monday night. Vikings minus 6. Raiders plus 4. See you at the window.
Well, Jay, moving right along, episode 15 in the books.
How good is it?
Oh, it's great. It's great. It's great.
I mean, it's almost like I'm going, God, this is, first of all, it's a ton of fun. We keep talking about how much fun it is, and it's just like bang, 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 next. next 15.
I know.
15.
Yeah.
We're going to keep this train rolling, brother.
That's right. Also, I know is one thing. If we can learn how to become undefeated, it'll make it even better.
That would be nice.
But, we'll see you next week.
Yep. We'll be here.
Thanks for coming.